Go ahead and get started. We'll call this meeting to order. Uh, Michael, you want to do roll call?
Yes, Trustee Hatcher,
Here.
Trustee Milne, Trustee Nicolason, Trustee Zeidler,
Here.
and Chairman North.
Here. Would you all please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right. Has everybody had an opportunity to read the minutes from our last meeting? So I would entertain a motion for approval.
So moved.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Okay, we have a motion by Trustee Nicolason, seconded by Trustee Zeidler. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? So moved. All right. Move on to director discussion.
Thank you, Chairman. The first item of business is with the Casper Mountain Biathlon Club, review of the draft grooming agreement that I've provided to the trustees, via email. Looking to execute an agreement, to have the Casper Mountain Biathlon Club do grooming again as they have in the past. Just a little, pretext on this. When it was budget time, I had the previous amount, for grooming in there. However, in June, the county commissioners requested that we look hard at our budgets again and see where we might be able to cut. Sorry, we have a gentleman, and so,
Okay,
yeah, could you,
the one that's online, would you mind putting your phone on mute unless we call upon you? And identify who you are so we know who to get hold of.
It's just late.
So who are we speaking with?
Sorry, Dave. It's Leif Johansson.
Okay. All right. Okay. Yeah, if you'll put your phone on mute, that way we don't have a bunch of back feed. It'll be good.
Yep. All right. I'm off.
Okay.
Okay, can you identify yourself for the record, please?
He did. Yeah, so can you say your name again clearly?
Sorry, I'm running. Leif Johansson.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Yes.
Okay.
so yeah, I'll continue. In June, the county commissioner asked all the department heads to take a strong look at their budgets and see where we could reduce.
Allie, up here! Up here, Allie!
Put your phone on mute or we're going to disconnect you.
My God.
He probably has Kelly Walsh High School practice right now for the Nordic team. So,
Well,
okay. So, with that, there were a couple of different places that the mountain budget was cut, and one of those I reduced the grooming contract, from the $30,000 to the $10,000 within our budget to kind of meet those requirements of the county commission. So that's where the $10,000 in this grooming agreement comes from. This agreement is based off the agreement the county commission executed for grooming last winter. Not based off the draft that was submitted by the Casper Mountain Biathlon Club. So not a lot has changed in here, except for the rates. I left the hourly rate at the same of $150 per hour. Believe we may have changed the insurance requirement to $2 million from $1 million. That was a a county legal requirement. I believe that's standard county insurance requirements now. And I removed the, verbiage, pertaining to the compliance review and the deadlines to get that done. So, I also made it one document that includes a trail map and the communication addendum on, how invoices should be done, when they should be done, and those items. On another note, currently, county park staff, I have one operator up there. We're looking to fill another position. However, I do have an operator at the lake that is, trained in grooming. So she will be our, backup groomer on the county side and will assist it in any efforts the county does over in the biathlon range as well. So we do technically have two groomers, to do the work that we need until we find a replacement.
Okay, and just for the record, board did go through this, I believe in September, wasn't it? The end of September, at a special meeting that we had, make sure that we run all on the same page. The only thing that I can see reading through here that we didn't, I'm not sure how we managed to miss it, but we had discussed it in the past, is actually having photo proof along with the invoice at the beginning and ending of the month, so we know, so we have evidence of how much grooming was actually done, of photo evidence of the hour meter when that grooming takes place. I'm looking both at Article 7 from underneath 3A, and also in the back, it's not in either location under the communications addendum. I didn't find it in either place. If
Not either.
okay, so if anybody else did better than I did, because I couldn't find it.
So would you prefer that to be inserted in both those sections or just in the communications addendum?
Because it specifically talks about the hours and what the itemized invoice has to have, I would rather have it under 3A7. But we can actually put it in both places unless the board has any other recommendations on that. Okay. Okay, so, Peter, what do you think?
Yeah, I think both parts.
Okay, so that's the only addition that I found. If anybody else found anything else that we need to address.
I think that there are a couple little things in paragraph 4 on page 2. The last sentence says time frame. The sentence before has time period. We've got to be consistent, so it should be time period in both. See that last sentence in paragraph 4, Michael?
Yes, I do. Thank you.
More importantly, I think letter F, breach, on page 3. So this is part of paragraph 5. The parks may, at its discretion, terminate or give written notice in time to cure the breach. I think it's highly unusual for it not to read what the written notice and time to cure would be. So it's really a recipe for dispute if you don't spell out 14 days written notice and 14 days to cure. So I'll let council maybe work on the details, and I don't really care if it's 14 days, 10 days, 30 days. It could be any of those perhaps, and maybe there's one scenario or another that suggests that it should be longer or shorter. But I thought that was not not adequate. That's it.
Any? Find anything else? Okay.
So trustees, for reference on the breach, oh, I guess, my apologies. I was looking at, a lot permitted at the lake, and it does not have a deadline on noticing that either, so, I was just looking for a reference and I don't have one, so, never mind.
So now we found something that we need to fix. So,
Okay, let's just figure this out now. So if they fail to perform in accordance with the agreement and Parks decides not to terminate the agreement, then we'll give written notice. And then I think the critical one is how much time to cure. Is 14, 15 days reasonable? And then we can get into commence to cure. And I see one of our audience members is a distinguished attorney. He would understand if you start to cure, but it reasonably takes more than 14 days, but you're actually trying to, you're making good faith attempts to cure, that period would extend through as long as you're making reasonable, diligent efforts to cure. So again, I'm getting a little bit outside my hat as a trustee, and think that others could add to that. But it seems to me that generally 14 days would be not too little and not too much.
this is my personal feeling. I think 14 days is fine, with the exception that if it needs to be longer, that it's approved. Come on up and talk on the. You got to talk on the mic, Pat. You'll have to turn it on.
Pat Holzer, Schwartzbahn, Walker, and Studer. I represent the Biathlon Club. The other thing on this notice provision that always is a little bit tricky is when we say written notice. How is the written notice conveyed? Because, you get into these arguments about, well, is that written notice dated down here downtown and then placed in the mail, or how is the written notice delivered? We might want to get that fleshed out, because anymore, the 14 days could easily be expended just getting there. So it might be nice to have that clarified a little bit as well.
So trustees, obviously I'm not an attorney, but I would prefer email, with the read receipt. That eliminates the mail.
Frankly, I would prefer email as well. And then, what my added suggestion is that it be noticed by email with a copy provided to legal counsel for the club and the county. I realize the county may be sending that notice out, but I'd like for the county attorney to get it, and for me to get it, as well as the club to get it, and whoever issued to get it, just so that we all know it's out there. That would be my suggestion.
And not just the read, but I would have delivery and read notification on there. That way it shows that it did get delivered,
Right.
as well as being read.
So
Oh,
that's
but
why I'm sorry to talk out of order, just because the
No, that's fine. You're the one that's representing them, so
thing.
that's appropriate timing. Pat, before you leave, did you have any other items on here that you were concerned about?
Well, you know what I would say, and it's not a legal concern, so I'm probably not the one to address it, is the amount to be paid to the club is something that's of concern to them. That's not a legal issue, though, so I don't know that I have any other
And that's
things.
the amount that was budgeted, so that's what it is.
I was a little unclear on the earlier discussion about the photo of the hour meter. I'm sure that will be cleared up as when I see the next draft. It was a little unclear to me.
Basically, to put it in simple terms, you provide a photo documenting, showing that your invoice is.
I understood that part. I just wasn't sure where it will appear here.
We're gonna put it in both locations.
Okay.
Both locations,
So-
because they both talk about invoicing and the procedure, and that way, it's easy to take a picture with a phone anymore, attach it to the email that the invoice is attached.
I understood that. I just where in the text it was gonna go, I was a little lost.
Yeah,
on
it's
that,
gonna be
but-
it's gonna be in both places.
Okay.
That was what we were kind of discussing on, if we wanted it in both places or just one. We
All right.
decided on both locations, so it'll be spelled out.
Okay.
Okay, anything else as
Uh,
far as your
not-
concerns?
Not that
legal
immediately comes to
concerns?
mind, but as if there's any additional revisions on your end. And, you know, what I understand is the county attorney will be making these revisions, probably provide a draft back to me, and will be the next board meeting where this is actually.
Yes, then
Okay,
we'll
thank you.
finalize it, yeah,
Thank you.
so, okay. Okay. Any other discussion on that?
Trustees, with the significant reduction in funding under the, parks, what Parks agrees to under obligations, you know, we agreed to pay that $10,000. We also agree that, we'll reduce hourly rate if they're non-compliant. My ask here is, should there be something in there, having the county provide some grooming over there, when we can access the area, to assist in that significant reduction in grooming fee? Or,
Do you have room in your budget for that?
probably, we've done some grooming there in the past years. 2023 was, the primary one where we did a significant amount of grooming in preparation for nationals.
I was just gonna say, the reason we discussed for that extra help was that the Nationals, event, I think it gets potentially us into a little bit of a gray area. The more we're doing, or we expected to do it, and I don't know that the relationship has been, wonderful, or at least maybe the communication, has been difficult at times. So I'm not sure how well that's gonna work out. I think that maybe on a case by case, but right now I wouldn't think they need it. And, I just don't wanna open up a can of worms potentially.
So may not have this in the agreement, but if county needs to go over there and do some grooming on occasion to, you know, tidy things up if equipment's down, or, I mean, that's a standard anyways, when their equipment's down, that's in here. Okay, I understand.
Well, I didn't mean that. I mean, I don't, I think if we're gonna be doing it, it needs to say in here that the parties may agree from time to time, due to special circumstances, that the county may groom under such terms and conditions as you two work out. But it needs to reference that, because otherwise there's no indication whatsoever that we're ever gonna go do that.
Okay.
So you've gotta have at least the parties may agree depending upon circumstances. So definitely, if you're gonna do it, have it in there. And then if I were you, Michael, I would have, emails documenting all of it.
So, do the trustees want me to put something, as trustee Nick Lason, kind of clarified there on what I was trying to get at?
I don't have any problem with having something in there that basically says upon mutual agreement.
Okay.
That, you know, that we may assist.
Okay, thank you.
Right. Any other comments about that?
I have none. I don't know if the biathlon club has any additional comments.
Do you guys have any additional comments on that? you'll have to turn that on, push the button, there you go.
Robert Rosser, 1046 Lemmers Road, Casper, Wyoming, representing Casper Mountain Biathlon Club. Yeah, a couple things. First of all, I appreciate Mr. Brown offering supplemental grooming from the county. We will definitely be receptive to that because we're going to need it to fulfill the needs of the community. I just wanted to make the point that, you know, when we started this relationship between the county and CNBC, it was under the agreement that the county would groom those trails on the same schedule that they groom over on the Nordic side of the house versus McMurray Mountain Park. And, you know, we quickly saw that that was a challenge, and that's why we stepped in and offered to do it at half the cost that the county was billing themselves. And I think that was about 6 or 7 years ago. And, you know, since that time, we've been receiving the same amount, $25,000, to do so. And, you know, with the increased costs of grooming and maintenance and parts and fuel and such, you know, it's basically a cut even at 25,000. So obviously, you know, this is a huge challenge for us, you know, to maintain quality grooming and such at 10,000. So I wanted to point that out. I also offered the county via email to you and Mr. Chairman and Mr. Brown that I would offer. I knew you guys were down a groomer. I'm an Olympian in the sport of biathlon and Nordic skiing. I have a ton of experience, so I offered my services to groom the entire trail system, obviously using your groomer and such, which, you know, my intent would be, you know, to make sure all the trails are groomed on an equal timing plan and schedule such as that. And I have a plan to make that most efficient and productive. So I just wanted you to know, number one,
Yep.
I was serious.
I understand you're serious, but the one thing that we have, our insurance will not cover you operating that groomer. That's part of the
If
problem.
I'm an employee of the county,
If you were an employee, but you're not an employee of the county.
correct. I was offering to fill that position
Yeah.
as a county employee. And you know I have support from the users and the citizens of the trail system to do that job, you know, so, and I kind of thought that would help in this, you know, challenge that we have with funding for sufficient grooming and such like that. And I live on the mountain. I could walk to the county building where the groomer is. So I'd appreciate if you would give that another look, because I think it would be a good solution, especially with the monies that we have now.
Mr. Rosser, let me address a little bit. I have an open position for a parks operator on the mountain, which is not solely grooming. It's a year-round position. It requires operating other heavy equipment, tree work, cleaning, campgrounds, just pretty much everything we have to do to operate that mountain, not just solely the wintertime. So we're looking for a qualified individual for that. That application process is open right now. I don't know when I'll start reviewing applications. But the position's not just for solely grooming.
Right.
I just wanted to make that clear. That's the position that I have.
No, I understand, and I was opening the discussion so that we could.
Right, and I
kinda-
just wanted to put that out there so everybody knew.
And in fairness, I would be looking just for the grooming part, you know, and, but I would hope that maybe you guys would, discuss this a little bit. But you're correct. I was looking just for the grooming portion of that need for the county. So I guess in summation, we're definitely thankful for, you know, the offer of 10,000. It's just, we can't do as much as we were previously, for the entire season with that amount. So we're gonna have to change our plan as far as, we're not gonna be able to do all the trails as frequently as we previously did. I just wanted to make that clear. So, and again, I'm very thankful at any supplemental grooming that the county could provide. So I'm 100% behind that.
Can I ask you, Mr. Rosser, I asked you in an email, what's the current status of your equipment? Is it all 100% operational? Does it need maintenance before it's operational? Where are you at with your grooming equipment?
They're all operational. We definitely have some more preventative maintenance that we want to perform, but everything's operating as, we've been working on each piece of equipment over the last couple of weeks. So when the snow flies, we're able to perform all grooming needs that are required.
Do you have any major events this year?
Not sure what you mean by major.
Well,
events,
do you have regional races or do you have races on the schedule? I haven't seen a list of your events yet. And so I've been
Yeah,
waiting to see
pretty
those.
sure I provided those at the last meeting ahead of that.
Ver-
But
verbally or via email?
I believe via email. So,
Okay, I'll look for that again and
yeah.
I'll send you
But
a request. if I don't have
I
it.
can give you a synopsis real quick. Like, we had on that schedule, November and a December, a Thanksgiving and a post-Christmas camp, each of those 3.5 days. And then we have 3 weekends of races, regional races, January, February, which I gave you just a couple days ago. And that's the 3rd and 4th of February, I believe the 7th and 8th, 3rd and 4th of January, I think the 7th and 8th of February, and it's the second weekend of March, 2 weeks before Nationals, strategically, because you usually get a lot of people that want to race before Nationals, which are going to be in Utah.
I have a question about the dates that you came up with. Did you confirm with the junior high or high school ski schedules to see if this is something that those racers will be available to do, since that's kind of primary audience that would be attending? Do you know if they're racing those weekends?
No, I don't. We never have in the past, and
Well, it might be a good place to get more people that would do it and be interested in, because those are your target.
right, we have it on our Facebook, so it's available for the public to see.
Right. My point was just collaborating with the junior high and high school ski teams to let the kids get the most out of everything that they can do.
Yep. Yeah, as I said, it's out there. I do need to add those 2 additional race weekends for January and February. But yeah, I'll make sure the junior high and high school teams know. So one of the coaches is listening as we speak, so
Well, I think they've got a race January 3rd and 4th is my only thought.
yeah,
So,
well, the other thing I have to do is match the regional schedule so that we maximize participants from Colorado, Washington, and Montana. So, and in the past, we've gotten more participants from out of state and out of town than even in town. So, but I'll make sure they're aware of it. Thanks for bringing that up. Yeah, I guess that's it. Jumping ahead to the operators agreement, I think we're in agreement that we pretty much keep it the same with the exception of the
Well,
title.
hold on a minute. Are we are we done?
You tell me if we're done with grooming and then we can proceed
That's,
on.
I'm asking the board, if you guys don't have anything else, then we can move on into the
Well,
operating agreement.
I-
Just hold on a minute. So if the board doesn't have anything else for the grooming agreement, then we can move forward.
With Mr. Rosser being there, when we look at Exhibit A, the biathlon trails, if $10,000 is gonna be allocated from the county, do we need to prioritize any of the trails on this, or do we just let you go wherever you feel is best for the organization? Does it make sense? You were talking about $25,000 was break even. $10,000 is going to be really hard. Are we all still comfortable, Michael? I guess the question for you too, that the biathlon trails as Exhibit A can be untouched and left alone.
So I guess I would leave that to the biathlon club to decide, because if they're going to have some races, they'll have a specific course layouts that they'll want to use, and that may be their primary grooming. I see what you're saying about, maybe some of the trails not being groomed this year due to lack of funding. And so keeping a core area around the stadium for that reason.
My intent would be, just as you said, keep the focus on basically the pavement areas at first, of course, when we have limited snow, and we can use our lightweight groomer for that. And when time allows, hit the other trails, but priority would be the immediate stadium area, and then time and funding allowed, we expand and include the tertiary trails.
So I guess I would leave it as is and not confine him to doing one specific.
Thank you. And then there are, there's others that would like to speak if time allows on the grooming.
I don't have any problem. I mean, we'll listen. We're still on the grooming agreement, we're kind of moved off of it.
Well, yeah, this would be on the grooming, just to help send it home on how important this is to the community. Leif, I don't know if you're listening right now. I'd like to get Leif and Bruce if you wanted to say anything.
Sorry, yes, I was taking my gloves off.
All
Can
right,
you hear me?
the mic's yours.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, sorry. First of all, I want to apologize for yelling. I was going to lose a group of kids in the tree, so I do apologize. Yeah, I don't know, like I said in September, every time I go to a big venue and then come back to Casper, I just tell you, man, our grooming is so much superior than anywhere else I've been to. And I've been to some big places, and our grooming is just amazing. And I just want to keep that going. Rob has done a really good job, of grooming for us specifically. Like, we've had some times when we needed stuff specifically groomed for tracks, for track works, for classic skiing. Rob was able to do that for us. I know that Joe did that for us as well on the county side. I would just hate to see anything like that disappear. It sounds like things have already started to work and sync, and I wanted to make this as short as I can, but I just want to I just would hate to see something disappear that is so good. And I applaud you guys for saying that we need a junior high race up here and a high school race up here. I would love to see the qualifier race up here. We did one a couple of years ago, and what an amazing turnout that was. Rob had probably, 500 athletes, I think, Rob, is what you had, right? It was at least that number. The place was packed. We had to shuttle cars up and down. It was such a great event to see that up here, and I would just like to see that happen again. But just get back onto the grooming. I would just hate to see grooming being cut down. We just have such good terrain here that is just untouchable. We can do it at 8,000 feet. That's why I'm here tonight. The course has been swept for us tonight for roller skiing. We've got the lights on. I mean, what a great night to be able to do something like this. And we can't do that without the help of you guys and the support of you guys. So I just wanted to say that, kudos to Rob and Melvin for doing such an amazing job of grooming, and the county guys. Mike, I just, you're awesome. So I just wanted to just throw that bone out. So I hope that goes somewhere. I'll check out.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bruce, you wanna say anything?
Going to be for public comment, but I'm happy to go home early. I've been in this game a long time. Bruce Lamberson, 2449 Hogadon Road. I just want to visit the importance and the complexity of grooming. And from the importance standpoint, I mean, we wouldn't have the lodge up there without grooming. Visit Casper wouldn't have visitors from all over, including the team from the University of Utah that trained here for 2 weeks last fall because we had the altitude and we had the snow. They're NCAA Division I champions. They can go anywhere they want. They come here, and this isn't the first time they've done it because we have early snow, we have high elevation, and we have great grooming. We wouldn't raise all that money for that fireplace in a few weeks last year ago, whenever it was, without the grooming. The lodge wouldn't be there without the grooming. I mean, it's the essence of most of what goes on in Natrona County's outdoor recreation hospitality program on Casper Mountain. I mean, the camping's another thing, and it's there, but the grooming is the product this county is selling, and it's that important. From a complexity standpoint, I mean, it's way more complicated than a grader, a backhoe, an excavator, and general operation equipment. Picture a tractor with a front plow, side wings that all work independently, tip, up, down, the wings in, out, then the cab, then behind that, a tilling machine, which tills snow to refresh it. Behind that, a beaver tail, which compacts that snow to a skiable surface. And after that, a track setter, which can be adjusted. Every one of those things is independently controlled. Down pressure, speed, and then it's done at night. So that operator's got lots of lights, but he's making a product 30 feet behind him that's got to be right. And that doesn't come, I mean, guys like Joe and Marvin have been in the game a long time who, Joe's gone. It takes a touch, and I've ridden with groomers for decades, and they can rush through it and screw up those trails faster than anything. My operation, Mountain Sports, sells trail passes. That's directly related to the quality of those trails. And I've got the records from the last 5 years. I won't go through them all, but 6 years ago, when we had a lodge, Joe was on his game. The grooming was great. We got some newer equipment. And I mean, we were selling twice as many passes as we sold last year. Now we have the lodge back, but the turnover of grooming operators shouldn't be underestimated. That's an issue. And I hear about it every day in my business if the grooming's not excellent. You've pushed the bar way up. Please keep it there. It's critical. And it's not one of those things where if we sell enough passes, we have enough money to do a good job with grooming. We have to do a good job with grooming, equipment and operation, or you won't sell passes. And I know that. Now it's going to be tough this year because in October and November, our sales are already down 30% in passes, and we've raised the price 50%. So do the math. A lot less people are buying passes right now. And it's going to be tough, but it's on this group here and the county to provide that service no matter what. And honestly, whatever happens with Rob, thank God he's gotten involved with this and that his club and has the equipment to supplement what the county's doing. But if that doesn't work, it's still on the county. Please, as the trustees, the county needs to own that grooming. And understand how critical it is and how complex it is. It takes good operators working all the time. Now, it doesn't matter now, we don't have any snow. But you're in the hospitality business, and you're in the snow farming business too, just like all the other ski areas. Managing that snow is critical. So anyway, I just want to bring that up and say, please keep this priority high, because it's the essence of everything that happens on the mountain, and probably the biggest revenue driver through the year, although I can't really speak to that. But anyway,
Bruce, I got a question for you.
Certainly.
I know you've been selling passes for a long time. Do you have any correlation on paper to show the number of sales of trail passes versus how much snow we have? I mean, the last couple of years have been pretty brutal as far as, not getting any snow.
Yeah.
Normally by this time of year, we've already had several snowstorms. We've already got a basis established. Obviously, that is not the case this year. Last year, it was very similar. We didn't get snow until really late in the year, and so I'm not I'm not disagreeing with
No,
the fact that we
but
need to
you asked
groom,
if I
but if
do,
you
I
don't
do.
have any snow, and you know how it is, people around here look at it and it's like, well, why should I buy a trail pass if there's not anything to ski on?
That's right. And the whole ski industry is facing that right now, except for a
Yes.
few places in the country. Yes, and no matter what the snow is, trail passes end by the end of January. February, March, April, we sell a few, but hardly any. When do people buy seasons passes? Ski areas, the programs, Hogadon, whatever, it's right now. And we're in trouble. But just like I'll just throw numbers out. This isn't numbers, but dollars. 2019 and 2020, we had the lodge, we had a good snow winter, everything. We sold $18,000 worth of passes. Last year was $9,000. That's a chunk. But what I'm saying is, but when that snow comes, we need great grooming, or we want to sell that, because people do, and I hear this, they judge their desire to buy a pass or accept a 50% increase in prices based on the product. Okay. So it's one of those things, you got to bet on the come and do a great job up there no matter what, or it's only going to get, worse. And, but yeah, snow helps. But what can we do about that? I mean, I spent 36 hours in Dallas 3 days ago because it was raining. I mean, yeah, I was pretty pissed at American Airlines, but they can't do anything about the weather. So we win and lose on that, but the bar's high. And so, yes, with the lodge and all, if we have a good snow year, we're going to kill it. We'll do great. And the new prices on the passes. But I just want to keep it on top. Yeah, if you want specific weather pricing, yeah, you're on the right.
I was just curious because
You're saying exactly that, and it
I've
can
been,
snow.
I remember back in the 80s, we had the same thing. We had really, really low snow years for several years in a row where there just wasn't anything. I mean, Hogadon, it was ski the rocks because there wasn't any snow to cover. Well, I mean, that was before they put the snowmaking
They
machines
still
in
have the
there.
rocks.
Well,
That's okay.
but
I deal with that too.
I'm just saying, if you don't have,
You're right.
if you don't have the cover, then you can't, there's some things that are beyond our control. And
Absolutely.
obviously,
And I looked
have-
Carter Napier in the eye about 7 years ago and said, when it doesn't snow anymore, we need food and beverage at this lodge we're building. That was a $7 million lodge. He looked at me like, what in the world are you talking about? Talking about staying in the bicycle business. But the point is, we've had moisture up there too. I've got green grass all over the mountain. It's beautiful up there. But we've had tons of moisture, and it's been at 34 degrees. If it was at 28, we'd all be skiing. So there's a lot going on here. I'm just saying, you're in this winter snow business, the grooming, well, you'd be nothing without it, let alone the school programs and all the other things that are out there. But yeah, there's some
I'm
things
just
we
saying,
can't
we
control.
gotta have snow before we can groom.
Just be ready and realize
I think,
you need great operators with great equipment.
so.
Screw it all up fast. Anyway, that's all.
All right.
Thank you.
Yeah, Jack Harbison, 3050 East End Road. Yeah, I just wanted to, I'm part of CNBC, and I've been a part of the Nordic area as it was built. My father and Don Jacobson and a lot of great people helped build that facility. And now we have this excellent opportunity that we can connect the Nordic facility to the biathlon facility. And, part of this whole grooming agreement and what we're discussing is, those trail passes did go up. And I think if you look at other facilities around the United States, we're still well below what other places charge for less, a heck of a lot less skiable kilometers. But my biggest ask is, please, with the county and CNBC, let's make it a priority to connect those two, because ultimately they're both county parks. And those people that are paying for those passes ought to get the benefit of both. Whether they come over to the CNBC or just stay in the Nordic area. I know my son and a lot of his friends, who's a Nordic skier and biathlete, even Leif's high school team, they ski on both sides of that mountain. It's beneficial to all of them. That's, really the biggest thing that I have, and that, hopefully next year we can start having this conversation a little bit early, because it sure is hard to budget. It's hard for you guys to budget. I feel for you, but it is very hard for us to budget as a nonprofit, for 60% less than maybe typical. So that's my biggest ask is, please grant us that courtesy next year. Maybe we can have this discussion in August or, whenever, but certainly not right up, when the season begins, because it does take quite a bit of brain calories to divvy up all that money and make sure that we give, make sure that we deliver a good product. But anyway, thank you all.
If I could address Mr. Harbison real quick. Historically, I've been here since March of 21, and the Biathlon Club has always come to the county with a request for a grooming agreement, not the other way around. And so that's historically why the grooming agreement is always discussed in October, late September. And some of the trustees are on the county commission. They may be able to correct me if I'm wrong in that understanding, but that's the way I've seen it. It always, so it goes both ways on starting this discussion earlier. That's all I'd like to say.
No doubt. It certainly does.
Go ahead, Peter.
The budget needs to be turned in from Michael Brown to the county by roughly the third week in April. So if I were you, I'd get with Michael between the time your season's just about done, and you can brag about how great Rob's doing, right? And how well things are doing, because that's going to sell, I think, your conversation come budget time. But you need to be talking with Michael before the third week in April every year.
I agree with that. I was totally ignorant to that. I will be in touch with you well before April to make that happen.
Yeah.
Brian Price, 731 West 58th Street. See where to start. So I was injured in Iraq in 2006, and I used sports to help me with my PTSD. And I fell into biathlon, and that's how I ended up in Casper. After the venue was built, I came here to race, and I seen how amazing it was. So me and my family moved here. Without good grooming, I mean, people are going to get hurt. I've been hurt twice before CNBC took over the grooming. I broke my thumb. Hurt once, nearly hurt badly a second time. The tracks weren't laid correctly, and where it's almost tossed me off in the woods. If I had gone in the woods, I would have been there's nowhere but down, and I would have been injured. There's no other disabled sports here in town. So for the health of people with disabilities, there's lots of veterans here with disabilities that we provide free services to. There's not a whole lot for the mentally disabled. We're just starting a program with the Special Olympics. Rob has a son who has Down syndrome. I have an autistic son. We want to get our kids outside and be able to be involved. So, well, I probably should say because I moved here, I was able to attend 2 Paralympics because of how great the venue is here. It's been amazing. I mean, I love this community, and I would really like for the one disabled sport in town to be maintained. Thank you.
Mr. Price, can I ask you a question? Do you only utilize the biathlon trails, or do you also utilize I'm just curious, do you utilize the Nordic?
I use both.
You use both, okay. Is there a specific, and this is for my own education, is there a specific requirement on how tracks are set for sit ski versus just regular?
If they're laid properly, the same way they are for a stand-up skier, it's good enough for me. It may not be good enough for everybody, but it's good enough for me. Yeah, I ski on both sides. I enjoy both sides, but I can only do biathlon on one side.
Okay, thank you. I appreciate that information.
No problem.
On that, just real quick, if it's a race, you change it for sit skiing. It's,
Versus,
yeah.
okay, thank you.
All right. Anything else?
I'm good with the grooming. I can stand here for operators agreement.
Let's stick with grooming for just a second, Mr. Chairman.
Okay. Go ahead, Jim.
Michael, with this extended conversation, you have a good idea of what you need to do to move forward with the agreement, and what is your understanding of everything
Yes,
that needs to be done?
I've made notes, county attorney's made notes. I will revise this draft, submit it to county attorney, get it back to you guys so that we can approve this at the
Regular meeting in December.
next meeting, yes.
But you captured everything with all the,
Yeah, I'll probably watch the YouTube twice, so
okay,
nothing else to do on a Saturday night.
okay, just make sure. Thank you.
I guess I would have one more question for Mr. Rosser on this grooming agreement. With the revisions as discussed, does the Biathlon Club plan on signing this agreement and going into this agreement as we've discussed it today? Or is this kind of a non-starter for the club, I guess? I just want to make sure before we go through all the work that this is kind of where we're both in agreement with this and can work with this year.
It's not a non-starter. No, of course, we'd like to hear you say, well, we could come up with a little bit more. Just being honest, but we're gonna sign it.
Okay, great, appreciate it. I'll get it corrected and off to the board.
Okay, and we'll have this up for approval at our next meeting, the second Thursday in December.
One question on that is if snow flies before next meeting, hopefully we'll be reimbursed for that. Otherwise, I'd rather have it signed as soon as possible because snow's probably going to be here before next meeting, hopefully.
I'm not a weather forecaster, and I'm not gonna pretend to
Neither
be,
am I.
even though I could be wrong 50% of the time and still keep my job. So, yeah, you just never know, so.
But to that, the agreement covers grooming from November 15th. I think once we do get it signed, it'll go retroactive.
So if you get snow, don't worry about it.
Sounds good.
So, okay. We're gonna discuss the operational agreement, and then I'll let you come back up, because I'm sure Pat will have some comments on that as well. So, okay. Has everybody had a chance to read through the operation agreement? It's not a whole lot different. Actually, it's not different at all from last year.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, the one I provided here is the executed agreement from January 17th, I believe, of 2025. This was for a 1-year term. The Biathlon Club has indicated they would like to go to a 2-year term. And I don't really have, honestly, any changes except for changing it from county, Natrona County to the Parks Board of Trustees, on signatories and whatnot. And the only other recommendation I would have is, executing this in December, or in January, sorry, I prefer this, be more like July or August to, termination of the agreement, the renewal of the agreement, so that we have more time. It's not during the major efforts that the Biathlon Club provides in the wintertime, because that's the bulk of their, busy season. So, those are my recommendations on this.
The only other thing that I have on here that, reading through this, and that I've had, and Rob, these are suggestions that have come to us from the public, is to actually have additional open range days on Sunday. Not every Sunday, so, but like the high school kids, they're racing on Saturday, so they're not able to come over and actually utilize the open range days a lot of times. And they would like, that's something that they would like to have, is have that opportunity. I'm not sure how many, whether it's twice a month or something like that, but that is something that they have requested, to give them an opportunity to actually utilize the range. And I think that would be good for you and good for them. So that's the one thing that I wanted to bring up, because that is something that was brought up to me, by the users that would like to be able to do that. So basically, the specific ask is just to have open, have a certain amount of time that they can actually come over and have an open shooting day on Sunday, or at least not the whole day. That's not what they're asking for, but at least some time frame where they can come over and actually, they're going to probably run the inside track, the short track, and do the shooting and doing that part. The skiing, I don't think is the issue. It's just having that opportunity to go around and utilize that. And Stacy, I think you can probably speak to that a whole lot better than I can.
Yeah, I have a daughter who's actually on the Natrona County High School ski team and is also a biathlete. And, it would be really awesome, because she's tied up with her ski practices Monday through Saturday, to have some range time available on Sundays for the kids to be able to go practice for biathlon.
Bottom line is, if there's a need and to use the range, within reason, I'm flexible. We'll try to make it happen. I'm just kind of scratching my head, because if there's communication, it's basically open all the time. Not sure why we need another open range, and that's why maybe we need to define what open range day on Saturday that was previously asked, that we've been doing. You know what I mean? It's always open.
Yeah.
So
Well, I know you,
Shouldn't be
you,
anything special.
I know you had come before us and said you were gonna have open range day on some Saturdays. In addition to that, we've just had people that have requested that you have something similar on some of the Sundays so that so the kids that are racing have that opportunity to go over and shoot because they can't obviously necessarily.
Well, and I think it's a great opportunity to try and get more kids from the local area to be involved with a biathlon venue when there's things going on that are open and available and around when they've got time to go do it. Because I think that given, if they're at races all the time when there are events going on, they can't participate in that, and maybe it's a chance for us to get them in and into this program sooner because it's incredible and it's awesome and we have an amazing venue up there. That if we could get more local kids doing this and have a really good team and a strong standing and be able to go to region, so forth, that's what I would like to see happening up there. And I think that we've got to be available when the local kids are available to get them involved in that as soon as we can,
You bet. If you could just reach out to me via whatever mode, text, phone, email, and give me the specifics. We target 1 to 3 in the wintertime because it's the warmest part of the day,
I think that's a great time
especially in December and January.
when the days are short.
So,
Well, and the sun goes down behind the
Yes, it
range,
does.
and it
Right.
gets cold out there real quick.
exactly. So,
Cold and dark.
if you could just reach out with specifics and, within our feasibility, try to make it happen for sure.
Okay. I know a handful of kids on the NC team, and that would be interested in some open range time. And I know that there's specific requirements for what, who needs to be out there, and so.
Right. Yeah, as far as range officials and such. So
Yeah, so they can't just go up there and go shooting and practicing.
there's more than just me in town, like Ken Mick and such.
I know.
So, I mean, if he's there, that opens up,
Right.
opportunities as well, so.
So are we talking about making a change to the agreement or just kind of working informally?
I think informally and in addition to what we're already doing.
Okay.
Because we've already put out there 1 to 3 on Saturdays, and we're not gonna change that, but we'll add to it, so.
And I'm not sure just exactly what the best practice is. We may have to put something in here that, with arrangements, it would be open on additional days or something like that. That way it's not just a carte blanche, but you have an opportunity to work with them, make sure that they have something up there. Just simple, real simple language, not anything complicated, but just make sure that we do have something that address that shows that we're trying to look out for the citizens of the county as well, and as well as the facility. It goes both ways.
So, Mr. Chairman,
B9.
3B, item 9, it states publicly advertise and conduct open range times on a seasonal basis of no less than 6 times per year. The dates for which shall be provided in the Trona County Parks for purposes of making the public aware of the same. The Saturday 1 to 3 has been provided to parks, and we put it on our sites as well. And CMBC shall be responsible for staffing an RSO whenever the range is open, so on and so forth. So it doesn't tie the biathlon club to a specific time frame and specific day. So I think if there's a public request for Sunday range days, then they could put, the biathlon club could publicly advertise those, as well as the Saturdays without changing the clause of the agreement. That's my thought on it.
I,
Or we can put specific times in there. I just,
maybe what we ought to do is say there may be alternate dates that you can post on your website that doesn't necessarily have to come back through us, but you can go out there and say, yeah, we're gonna have an open range day on this day. That way you don't have to turn around and come back to us. You don't have to get approval. We don't want that. You know, we don't want to be in the middle of that. But that would give you the opportunity to say, you know what? We don't have anything going on this Sunday afternoon. Let's have open range day. We're going to post that on our website so people can see. And you could put something even on there that if there's additional times, please contact us that you're looking for. That way it doesn't really change any of that, but it just gives that option, and it shows that you're working with, you know, the public and the kids and different groups and stuff like that, as well as working with us.
I think that makes the most sense. Express a need, and you know, we'll do the best we can, and we should be able to do it. It just keeps it a little bit more informal instead of more amendments and such like that. So,
I don't think there needs to be anything that's set in stone. I don't think that works, because usually when you do that, it doesn't work anyway.
right.
You know, there's
Well,
always something that happens that it just doesn't work, and
It's
so
an outdoor sport and it's a winter sport, so there's got to be flexibility there. You
yeah,
know, so-
and you know, you go in there and you put something down like that, and then that's the day that we have
right.
the heaviest snowstorms,
No,
and
exactly.
you can't do anything. You can't see the targets because
Right.
it's kind of difficult. You can go out and ski, but you can't see the targets. You
That
can't
usually
shoot.
happens in the springtime, but
Yes, it does, but you never know. So I think that's my personal feeling. I'm open to any other suggestions if anybody else has any other suggestions on that. I just wanted to bring it up because it's something that was brought up to me by different individual
sounds great.
users.
We want the venue used as much as possible, and bring the need, and we'll try to make it happen the best we can.
Okay. Any other comments on that?
Well, first of all, I want to thank you for handling that in that fashion. That's actually why I stood up, because my thought was the same as yours, is that once we set out a bunch of you must do this, that, and the other thing, it'll become unworkable. I think that the present draft on that topic is good. As has been mentioned, this draft is, what you have is the agreement that was entered into last year, which has worked fine. I think what we would like to see, I mean, it's fun to see all of you every year in this fashion, but if we could maybe make it, you know,
Pat, you don't have to lie.
I'd like to see you guys 2 years from now on this topic. This one actually, you know, the history of it is there was a lot of revisions that went into it, and so you know, there was quite a bit of work to get to this particular point. Seems to be working well. I think this is a good document. You know, if possible, I think I'd prefer to have a 2-year term. They'll see this one, actually, the way it read is it became effective upon the signature of the last required signature. So that was in January of 2025. So it runs till January 2026. I understand the desire maybe to have it not be a middle of the winter to middle of the winter contract, which is kind of awkward. So maybe our suggestion would be is if we could get a 2-year term. This one we might have, it might be,
A year and a half.
it might be.
Because if we go a year and a half, we go all of the rest of this year.
Right.
All of
And
next year, and then it would come
then
in
into the summer,
July of 27.
which
would keep-
I think that just flat out
Be the
works
same
better.
thing.
Because then we're not actually discussing this in what should be ski season. This year, we kind of have a strange year started, but if you would entertain that, I think that would work out better for the county. I think better for county parks, and it would work better for the biathlon club as well.
I agree with that 1,000%. It doesn't make sense to have it end in the middle of the ski season, so.
Yeah, it only makes sense from a calendar perspective, but not from a real world one. So,
Well, and Pat, if you remember right, I think we started early last year, but it took us a
well,
long time to get
that's
through the
absolutely
process.
correct. That's why I referenced back. This one went through a lengthy period of negotiation back and forth, modification of terms to get to this particular document. I think this document is working well, and I think that would probably be the one thing that we might tweak on it, because we've got a good working document now. So if we can modify the term so it kind of affects the weather year, for lack of a better, or the sport year, it would be to everyone's advantage.
Well, that would line up with our fiscal year too.
It would, because I'm trying to recall with the county, I know the municipalities, I think, have to have their budget in by July 1st, if I'm recalling correctly. It might be off.
Well,
I think you're on the same,
yeah, we are.
but you start about
We
3
start a
months
lot
before,
earlier.
Yeah,
But
right.
that would take care of it for a
It
while. And if I don't think anybody else has any other issues with what our current operating agreement is. Jim?
No, I'd like to agree with, maybe doing the 1.5 extension, but not so much effective on signature date, but actually have an actual date.
No, I agree with you. So I think what the term would probably be is commencing on January 1st, 2026, and then terminating, a 1.5. We'll put in calendar dates.
Exactly.
So that we
in
can
April or
work
whatever,
off of that. Right.
actual drop
That
dead
way-
date.
Yeah, I think that works better.
That way
for
it
everybody.
expires June 30th of 2027.
Right.
Yeah. And
All right.
that way we know when we have to get everything.
Yeah, we
Take
can
care
put
of
it on our reminders, and I'll see you guys in a 1.5 on this one.
All right.
Mr. Chairman,
Good.
the only other change that I just found, is the insurance to general liability. The county requires $2 million. This agreement had 1 million. We discussed that in the agreement as well, so I'll get that drafted in the corrections as well as a term clause, like you guys stated, for specific start and end dates.
Okay.
And is that, because I'm not familiar with what the county's general provision is, that I take it that's a provision of the county for all such contracts, the $2 million insurance?
That's my understanding from, the county legal's office.
Yes, that is correct. Thank you.
1 million and 2 million. If I remember right. 1
You-
million per
It's
incident,
been
2 million.
increased recently, right?
Yeah.
It's been increased. We spoke with HR and Warm, or I guess Risk, and that's what they advised us.
Comments on that? Good. All right. Looks like Alcova.
Okay, what I have up first is the proposed lot rent rates for all permittees for the upcoming term of 2026 through, it's either 2030 or 31. It's a 5-year term. So I have a large sheet here for everybody that has some historical data for the different rates, trailers, cabins, clubs, and marinas, and there is an error there. The bottom right one should be the Pathfinder Marina, but I did not get the label corrected. These calculations come from what the Bureau Rec has approved in 2021 on how to calculate rates. The state follows it on their cabin leases as well in their parks. There's a smaller sheet with yellow on it like this that talks about the consumer price index, weighted inflation rates. This is how I calculated the fixed escalator rate of 4% for the next 5 years. I did the same calculations in 21, and that's where the 1.5% came from. So, I'm in front of the Board of Trustees today to get approval for this escalator rate that I calculated. I have not presented it to Bureau Rec yet. Once I have a, decision on what we want that to be, I'll present it to the Bureau Rec and see if they approve or deny it. In our lot permits, under permittees obligations and payment of fees, it talks about, we will adjust the annual rent fee based on the 10-year weighted average of the consumer price index as determined for recreational sites and utilized by the Wyoming State Parks Department, which is what this is. Now, we can change that clause, and under the management agreement, it states that you will follow the consumer price index for rates. I will have to find that clause, but I know there'll be some heartburn at 4%. These are recreational sites. In the past, from 2012 through 2020, it was 2%. Doing the math for 21 through 25 is 1.5%, and now it's calculated at 4. So, I'm open to, this is what the math tells me.
Well,
Go ahead,
I have a comment, and, you know, looking at these weighted averages and the percentage rate, if you look at 2021, it's an anomaly out there. And so if you refigured those rates by taking out that 1 year, you'd probably come back down to more of like your 2%. I think jumping from 1.5% to 2% up to 4% is a bit much, and the outlier seems to be right there in COVID.
Okay, so you're looking at,
2021 on your,
Let's 8%.
on the bottom left table?
yep, and then 7.3 on or the 9.3 and 7.3 on the other table.
Mr. Chairman,
All right.
Go ahead.
first of all, I have a potential conflict. My family has a lakefront cabin, so I would abstain from voting on the lakefront cabin lot permit rates. But I think 4% is unreasonable. I think that, as Stacy said, that if you take out the years for COVID, you're not going to have 4%. And my feeling is, I don't care what the state says, that we make a reasonable adjustment and we go from there. And I think 2% is reasonable.
I agree with Peter Nicolason, and I have a potential conflict because I have a place out at the trailer park, so I will not vote on that.
So Jim and I will be doing all those discussing. Michael, would you mind taking that 2021 out and see
Yes, I can
what that
take that.
does to it? Just do a,
COVID was 2021 and 2022.
yeah, but you got 20 that was pretty close to 22. 20
So,
was actually higher than
COVID
22.
COVID didn't hit Casper until late in 2020. It was actually October, November when we were getting our first cases.
So
It was 2021 when it really started.
if I can bring everybody's attention to the top left table, this is the annual average consumer price index, and the inflation rates are listed on the far right in percentages. And there's that 8%, which is on 21. So we have, you know, we're lower, 2015, 1.26, but 2020 was 4.7, and 22 was 4.12 with the 8%, right in the middle. like you guys were just pointing out. Same data, just different little format. So yeah, I can definitely take that one out and see what it looks like.
See what they do, manipulate, I mean, the information and let's just see what it does. What I mean by manipulate it is take out different ones and see,
Well, 'cause you
see
got it
what
out.
see what the end result is. And that way, if you have a flyer,
Because that
That's out
8% is
Well,
weighted
It's
at
really
7.
out there. It doesn't
well,
trend along
the
every-
8% is definitely an outlier. I'm talking about the 4.7 and the 4.1 because they're not dramatically as far out of line. 8%, 2021 definitely needs to be thrown out. I'm not disagreeing with that. I'm saying let's see what the others do in conjunction with that. And
Because
see
I
what
think
kind of
that we've fallen, starting in 2023, we've fallen back into our normal. Mhm. Prior to COVID.
Right. But it's still, it's lower than 20. But it's,
Michael,
yeah.
however you do this, when you go through it and look at the numbers and revamp it, right? Make sure, since you're gonna be talking BOR on this, make sure you're gonna be able to verbalize and express why we're looking at doing what we're doing,
Yeah.
right? So that you can actually argue the point with them rather than just, here you go, and they deny it.
And I don't think they'll have a problem with this kind of adjustment. I think they will have a problem if it's just an arbitrary increase at 1% every year. That's what we're doing.
And that's all I'm saying, is just be able to verbalize it.
Well, then we can, I mean, we all know what happened. I mean, that's not like it's a questionable event. We know exactly why it went up and everything else. And, I think that's a defendable position. We just, like I said, just look at the numbers and definitely 2021 definitely needs to be taken out of this equation because that's not, but if we average it in and figure out what I mean by manipulating the numbers is plug in different numbers and see what it would really be if we had something that was consistent, find out what the standard deviation is and, you know, throw out the high stuff. So, because those are outliers. There's no doubt about that at all.
Michael, you mentioned the permit talks about a 10-year weighted average. So maybe we do need to change that. Although it says on page 3, yeah, it says 10-year weighted average of CPI for recreational sites. So maybe we do need to modify that, but I think you and you can sure reach out to legal, I would think, if you need help looking at the specific requirement of the BOR agreement.
Which
Is it
I
by-
actually just found it.
Does it have 10-year weighted?
Yeah, it says, rental fees for cabin sites and exclusive use clubs shall be adjusted annually based on the 10-year weighted average of the consumer price index.
We need to ignore that.
Well,
Um,
and we did in a way because, to follow that statement, it would go up and down every year. And we'd have to track that and follow it where
We had an
following
agreement
the
where
state's
we just set
format
a
of
yeah,
getting a
set
fixed rate for 5 years, worked better.
From a legal perspective, I think that we can find a way to justify not utilizing those years because they're such anomalies that no party to a contract would ever imagine we're gonna have a global pandemic. So I, whether it's 1, 2, or 3 years, 20, 21, 22, we need to make an adjustment and it needs to have some basis, in fact, and under our agreements.
Yeah, I'll rework these numbers and send them out and we
And
can
I'll
all
get
look
with you,
at it.
I'll get with you, Michael, cause I'm kinda curious to see what it does if we plug in different scenarios that are a little bit more realistic overall.
Yeah.
That's the easiest way I know
Okay,
to put it.
so I'll work on that and discuss that, with the board at the next meeting, but I'll have answers well before that. So I have a draft lot permit here. The other fees, there's a service fee, the trailer park service lot permit, service fees $115. That's for water, sewer, and trash services. The cabin permits have a service fee for trash only, and that's $70. Now, there's a clause in here that, if it exceeds that, we can invoice for the difference. This spreadsheet here with the orange is how we calculate our service fees, and the backup data, other tables are behind it. I'm proposing to increase those service fees because all of our costs are going up. Trash service has gone up significantly. At the reservoirs, we pay almost $90,000 a year in trash removal. Now, that's not just the lot permits, that's all the campgrounds everywhere. So I'm proposing to increase the trailer lot service fee to $175, and where I come up with that is, this year's usages for a trailer, water and sewer was $127.60. The, trash was $35.51 per permit. And, sorry, my brain's not working really well. We're in the $163-$64 range, and if we're gonna have a contract for the next 5 years, I try to put that a little bit above so that we don't have to invoice for additional costs, because when you invoice a permittee for an extra $5, you get a lot of phone calls. So, so that's where I'm at with that. And then the cabins, trash service fee, I was going to put that at $90 as a projection of what it would probably cost in the 5th year, so that we don't have to charge that. Now, we can leave these as we want. The numbers in red are what the service fee was short this last year. These fees are charged for the previous year and invoiced, so this is for usage in 25, but it'll be invoiced with the lot rent for 26. And the trash is a pass-through cost, the water and sewer are operational costs, and those go into a restricted sewer fund, that's separate from the, restricted lake fund. So, we can put the user fee wherever. However, at some point, if we put it too low, then we're at a loss, or we just end up having to invoice additional, put another line item for the overage above the service fee to the permittees. This includes the marina. Well, you can see the cost for water and sewer. The water rate is based off the current, these are the newer numbers. The $2.47 per 1,000 gallons is a wholesale rate from the Central Wyoming Water Sewer Joint Powers Board. And then the sewer rate, we base that off 60% of the water because we don't measure the sewer. And that is at $5.49 per 1,000 gallons, and that's based off the City of Casper's rate. They have a rate for 2,000 gallons, and then any additional after that is, any additional 2,000 is almost $11. And so we put it at $5.49, which is the cheapest number we can kind of come up with. So I can research more. I researched this in 21, and these two places were probably on the lower end. of everybody. Thinking about replacing a $4 million, installing a new $4 million water and sewer system, when we have $240,000 in our restricted sewer fund, and the amount generated here, I may not see it in my county employment term, so. Now we're still looking for other ways to pay that, but I just wanted to share this with you, see if there was any concerns, issues.
Go ahead. I don't know. I just have a question for clarity. So the fees that we're coming up with for the service fee, can that change year to year, or is that something that also gets locked in at 5 years at a time?
So my understanding is it's usually locked into the lot permit. The trailer park, for example, from 2016 to 2021, that was a $70 service fee. And I went through the numbers, the back numbers, and I projected 115. We went over $5 here, $5 there. The red here is a little amplified because we put in newer rates here.
Okay.
They were lower, and I'm sorry I don't have that with me.
I guess where I was going with this is, so if for the last 12 months, it costs about $165 a trailer, do you just charge $165 next year and then add all this up again? Cause this is great. And then if it's, $170, then the following year, when you give everybody their lease agreements, be like, it's $170 and just like.
So what we do is, if it's for example, the $115 that used to be in this permit, out of the 5 years, there were 2 years that it was 115 or less. So we didn't invoice additional. There was a year we invoiced an additional $2.38, and I believe there was another year we invoiced an additional $5. And I think there was one year in the cabins we invoiced an additional $3 on top of the 70 over the last 5 years. So trying to get it in the ballpark so people understand what they're looking at for expenses, and get it as close as we can. And then the overages that we have to charge are smaller.
Yeah. Thank you.
Go ahead, Peter.
Thank you. So you're suggesting 90 for cabins, and I'll abstain from a vote on that, and 175 for the trailers?
Correct.
And you feel comfortable, like, it's this tough balance because you don't want to charge people too much, but you don't want to have the brain damage of doing these additional billings. But with some of the improvements out there, maybe 175 is $10 too low, and maybe $90 is too low. But
Yeah, really, the goal here, I think the goal in the past here has been to cover the cost of the service. Yeah, not bankroll money for future maintenance, and I think that's what's got us where we are with the water and sewer system in the trailer park, is that there wasn't any forethought that these things fall apart and have to be replaced. And, we're at the 50-year mark, 70-year mark on some of that. And so we're way past the life of it, but we didn't build that in to build that fund up.
Well, Michael, right along with that, I know that we had some questions about the lift station pumps, sewer pumps. Where are we at?
We're replacing 2 pumps in one of the lift stations this year.
And
That's about $16,000.
okay, I just wanted to bring that up because that is stuff that.
Yeah, the maintenance on the sewer lagoon was, with the rental of equipment and just staffing and time, that was probably 15,000. The water tank that was replaced in the early 2000s, I think that was 250,000. So yeah, there's hidden expenses in water and sewer.
So you got the expenditures, but then you also have the capital costs, seen and unforeseen, right?
Yes.
Yeah, so why aren't we building a little capital reserve? I mean, I don't know. I understand what I think you're trying to do, which is approximate the cost, but, stuff's not getting any cheaper to replace.
Yeah, and before I started here, they hadn't charged water and sewer to the trailer park for close to a decade. And then before that, they were at 60 cents for 1,000 gallons of water. You know, our water fill station charges $1 per 100 gallons, I think. As long as you got enough quarters. So,
Pretty cheap.
so I mean, I can increase the rates of the water. I can leave this annual service fees lower, and we just invoice an additional amount to cover that cost each year. Or we can build it up at the approximation that I estimate it'll be to cover it without having to charge the additional or charge very little. So,
The biggest problem I see is that, you know, we don't have reserves in case we have a pump going out, whether it's at the well or.
well, we do have a reserve, but it's only $238,000.
Yeah, but it doesn't take very long to eat that up if you have to do any repairs. You go through that pretty fast.
And on a manpower cost, starting up the water system and shutting it down every year is approximately $20,000 in manpower.
Well, Michael, would you mind putting some numbers together for us that we can look at a little closer, you know, as far as different scenarios and things like that?
Okay.
You know, because I do think that's something that we need to look at. Not necessarily the rent costs, but the actual utility costs. Yeah, I mean, we all know that trash prices go up, and we have absolutely no control over that. The cost of pumps goes up, and we have no control over that. There's a lot of things that we just don't have any control over, and I think that's something that we, as a board, should look at and figure out just exactly how we can take care of things in the future.
Okay. I'll work on that, get that sent. Due to time, I redlined, the trailer lot permit. All the other lot permits are real similar. Most of the red lines I have are very nominal changes. If this board would prefer to take more time and review this and send their comments to me, I can get some more detail into this red line.
With all the information you gave us tonight, I would prefer, I mean, we've got another meeting in 2 weeks, 2.5 weeks, so I would rather give us the opportunity to look through this.
Okay.
And come back, and that way we can have questions or whatever else at that point in time. I mean, if anybody else has any other suggestions, I'm open to it, so. That's just my personal feeling. So, okay.
Okay. That's all I had to discuss tonight.
Any other old business? Okay. Any other new business?
Chairman, you had some new business you wanted to.
Oh, yeah, sorry. Thank you. Thank you for reminding me. Each one of you have a little flyer. This is a local company that they're building bear-proof trash containers. There's no hydraulics, there's no electronics or anything else. Everything works off gravity. It's kind of a neat little system. If you want to look at one of them, they're on 7 Mile, just south of D&H Welding. D&H Welding's not the one that produces them, but they're south of there. But it's kind of a neat system. They actually have a lock system so that you can actually lock the tires in place, so you don't have to worry about somebody coming and pushing them or hauling them off or anything else. And it's kind of a neat system. It doesn't take a whole lot to operate, but with all the issues, the increased wildlife issues that we've got up on the mountain, these are being currently being sold and put in Yellowstone, Bozeman, a lot of areas where they have bears. But it's not anything we have to make a decision on, but I wanted to give you the information so you could look at it. So that's all I got. So, yeah. So, any other new business?
I don't have any.
Okay. All right. Public comment.
Austin Burgess, 615 South Beach. Thank you, Chairman. So I'm going to give you guys all a document. I'm not going to go over it tonight. We've been here a long time tonight. It's basically what Central Wyoming Trails Alliance is going to be doing for our winter grooming for the single track trails. We've talked enough about grooming tonight. There is a request in there, and it is a monetary request, but I do understand where the county sets on budget and everything. It's just this is starting the ball rolling for us to be able to move forward so these discussions can happen in the appropriate time. 5,000 is what we're looking for to offset our budget. It costs us about $10,000 to groom. The trail system that we do, we're increasing our trail grooming from 7.5 to 11.5 miles this year. So we're not asking for a full reimbursement. We're just looking to something that offsets or potential grant opportunities and stuff like that. So if you wouldn't mind, I'll drop this stuff off with you. You can see kind of what we're doing. I'll be back next meeting, and if it's all right, get put on the agenda for next meeting if there's any questions on what we're planning on doing, so I don't have to, have you guys read it right now and stuff like that for sake of time. Is that all right? All right.
Yeah. Now, Austin, oh, you need to get back up there. You give me one. Yep.
Unless you want this one right now. Question.
So, are these actually groomed specifically for ski trails?
So they're actually a multi-use trail that we're grooming. So that the narrow corridor, they're groomed about 30 inches wide. Snowshoes, fat bikes, as well as cross-country skis. We don't set tracks like like we see on the ski trails, but there are a lot of skiers that do access these trails, and we'll be grooming over in the Nordic side that we've always done, and now doing a full grooming session over on the McMurray Mountain side as well, on how we connect that. So, but yeah, you want one too? I've got it next. So that's all I have on the grooming. I also wanted to give you guys just a real quick update on what we have going on. One of the bigger county projects we have going on right now is the Cottonwood Creek Dinosaur Trail. Just letting you know, everything is going really well with that. I'm going to be doing an official update when we hit a little bit more milestones on that. We've spent 7 days out there so far, and it's gonna be fantastic. Really excited. We've updated the WGA, or the Wyoming Geological Association, as well as the Tate Museum. Their folks know what's going on out there. I've been in constant conversation with Michael Brown as far as where we're at, what we're doing, and we're falling into that maintenance category, and probably be mid-December when we're done, unless we have like a major snow event out there. It is Alcova, so that's, you never know. It's a pretty warm area out there. So I just want to let you guys know, just for the transparency reasons, that everything's going really, really well on that particular project. Any of our needs, the director's been able to take care of, or we've been able to mitigate. So there is no requests that I have for the board on anything that we have going on out there. And the final thing that I wanted to update you on is the completion of the bridge that was done, the last Eagle Scout bridge. We were actually able to connect and rough in that trail, so it's not a bridge to nowhere now. We actually have that trail. It's not completed, but it is connected and usable. It would be usable throughout the winter, as well as we'll be finishing it, doing an actual trail finish on it in the spring. So was really excited to be able to get that in, and our equipment is off-site. So if there's any questions.
So did he get his Eagle Scout before he turned 18?
We'll see. I haven't seen the document to sign yet, so he hasn't asked me that. He did a good job, but yeah,
Okay.
as far as I'm concerned, he did good.
Well, I know. I'm just wondering if he actually got his award or not.
Well, they're getting a plaque made, so I'm assuming that.
Yeah, I hope so. Yeah, that's good. That's
Yeah,
good.
yeah. So, any questions?
Maybe.
Awesome. Thank you for your time.
Thanks, Allison. Okay. Any other public comment? Okay. All right. Does anybody have any trustee comments?
No. I said no. Your light's on.
Yeah,
I
turn,
know, so
turn,
they can hear
turn.
you say no.
Okay, now you can turn it off. Okay. Go ahead, Peter.
Michael, I noticed the website doesn't have all the correct trustees on it. And so if you would get our two relatively new trustees' names on there, that would be good. And then do we need to change the website to reflect the meeting location over at the parks office? How do we provide notice to the public?
Those are only special meetings, and Michael advertises that.
Otherwise,
They're here.
they're gonna be set.
They're here. Yeah.
All right, thanks.
Yeah, and at this time, we have no additional meetings scheduled over there. So I think we're on track where we don't need extra meetings, hopefully.
So, okay.
I don't have anything.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman, I have one quick question. It just came to me. This board of trustees and elections, I know historically that happens after the beginning of the first year, but I cannot remember. There was a lot of conversation about,
First meeting of the year.
so that's when elections will happen. Okay.
Yep.
I'll make sure that's on the agenda. Thank you.
So, okay. Okay. Any other questions? Okay. All right. Well, I don't have any other comments.